Alrighty, hello YouTube, my name is Narwhal Man. I am back with my second video. I'm excited for this one because I am so passionate about like 1v3's and 3v1's. Mainly because I've won too many 1v3's that I shouldn't have, like solo queuing or with a team. And against the enemy team, I like go get a kill and then I realize they're positioned way wrong and then I just take advantage of that. Or whenever I'm solo queuing and I have a 3v1 going and my team just bum rushes and they both die, leave me in a 1v1, and I'm like, maybe gonna win, maybe not gonna win, depends on what goes on, depends on what the hit registration is. It's just not good to have. And then my teammates say like, oh, why did you not push with us? And it's like, well, why would you? We had life advantage, or we had point control. But anyway, I'm really excited to get talking about this, help you all out. Alrighty, I want to talk to you about your survival 3v1's first. I am going to split the survival and trials 3v1's and 1v3's because they're both pretty different in the fact of the game mode is different, live based and res based. So first I'm going to talk to you about the survival 3v1's. So if you're in a survival 3v1, the one person has no lives or else their friendlies would be there. So that means you either are the same amount of lives or you have life advantage as the 3v1, right? So you and your buddies are going to hold back. I would not push at all unless you absolutely have to. There's no reason you should have to, except if the one person has points. I'm going to show this demonstration with Fragment, just as what we would be doing. So if we're in a 3v1, and let's say we have no lives. So at this point, we know it's going to go to tiebreaker or we kill the enemy. So, one person would be on point, one person would be about right here, and then I see a third person roaming. And what I mean by that is, we don't know where the last guy is until they come up on radar. So ideally this person's going to have a hand cannon and a shotgun. Now if this person has a sniper, you don't want to spread that much. I would say come back to point more. You wouldn't really have much of a roamer because you don't want to get all picked off. That's what they're looking for. But because most people are using like a shotgun, I mean I'm using one right now, or like a hand cannon, it's really best to just kind of have a roamer so you can pin the last person. So let's say last person's over here by garden, you would pin them some. So you know they're here. You would have your one person on point, like I said. You have the second person there, kind of over here more. Because at this point you know where they are. So over here more, swinging wide, going to get some damage. And then you also have your roamer maybe going through this tunnel, you know, main tunnel right here. Or maybe all the way around, pinning. Because you don't all have to get 180 to 200 damage. You know, that's about how much people have. It depends on the resilience, right? You don't have to have all those people there getting 180 damage. This person gets like 90, and that person gets like 100. And you have to kill. Because if you have them pinned, you're not going to have to worry about them regenning unless they've got a heal rift or they've got 100 recov. Then they might find a tight spot to sit in real quick and recov health. But they're not going to have much time to recover all of their health, so you don't have to worry about swinging wide for the entire kill as long as you have your buddy helping to pick them off. Now if you're in a 2v1, definitely still have that person on point, and then I would have that second person here. Not roaming too hard because you don't want it to become a 1v1. You don't want to be too split, but getting a little separated, kind of helping scope out where the last guy is helps a lot. And once you know where it is, so if you know the last person's over there and it's 2v1, I would like hide behind here. Sightings or not, I would probably put my barricade there just to kind of see what's going on, because then I have pretty much wall hacks where they can't damage me and they can't do anything about it unless they shoot it. And if they take the time to shoot it, that gives us more time to possibly get capture on point or anything like that. So I can pretty much just see what this person's doing, and I can say, oh, look, pushing up above, or look, pushing at me. And then that totally helps your team to just play smart and make sure you don't get too split. I assume if it's a survival match, you've probably found heavy by now because that comes in halfway through the round. So hopefully you know who has heavy. You've probably used it already, or the enemy team might have. But also keep in mind, if the enemy has a super, be looking at that scoreboard. Like you can see, I have super right now. So be looking at that scoreboard, because if that last person's rushing and they have a roaming super, or even a cancellation super, just any super at all, be ready to split. To be honest, I even set up differently. If I know the enemy has a super, I would say 2 people on point, and 1 person slightly roaming, see if they can bait it. Or if it's 2v1, 1 person on point, other person just pushing out a bit, see if they can bait the super. Just to make time get wasted while not on point, so you can push back on point if you have to give it up. Because holding point does not matter if you're all dead. So if they are rushing at you with a super, split. Try to make sure they get the pop off before you split, so you make sure they waste the super. But you want to make sure that you have that in mind. So be ready to split. If you know they're over there and they've got super, it's not a long run, especially like, I don't know, a top tree Dawnblade. Like, just simple pop, they jump way up, Icarus dash over. Yeah, I mean, that's easy kill. So be ready to split as soon as they have a super. Because the more time you make them waste not killing you, the better. Even if they're sitting on point with an active super, it's okay, you can get it back. You might be pressed for time, but you can get it back, I promise you. So you can also pin the last person. If you're already next to them, kind of on them anyway, I would say it's okay to pin. But I personally don't like getting aggro on the last person due to hit registration in the game. I know I say that a decent amount. I just know you can shotgun point blank and then you don't even hit. Or you can punch. How many times? I can tell you. I can't even count how many times I have gone to punch, hit lunges, and I'm right in front of their face and it just doesn't do damage. I'm sure you all have experienced the same thing at many times. But that's why I don't like to pin unless it's like, okay, we're on this person anyway, or the person's absolute. And plus with stasis, it is much easier to get out of a bad situation. Like especially with the ice wall grenade, Titans and Hunters, they can break that if you're rushing them. You know, Warlocks can just freeze you, like with Cold Snap Grenade. If 2 of you are pushing in together, they throw that Cold Snap down, and then it tracks from 1 person to the next. So that's personally why I don't like to pin the last person, but I understand if you're already on them, go ahead and pin him, get the kill. But if you start to notice that they're like burning through 1 of you, back up. Get out of there, hold. It's okay. You lost a life, but you'll make it count in the end if you just play smarts. Alright, so for your trials 3v1's, I decided to show you on the map of Bannerfall. Anyway, let's get to it. Your trials 3v1's, these are all going to be very situational, as the reses can be anywhere in the map. So I'm going to just say you're going to hold reses, and you want to make sure you have an eye on point, ready to go to it when it comes. But anyway, let's go ahead and break this down a little more. Sometimes it's going to be nice and easy because the enemy reses are out in the open. So as you know, point spawns right here. So I can look around and let's say they've got a res there because someone was fighting behind boxes or blue boxes. And then you've also got a res out in the open over here because they started fighting swinging wide because they're almost dead anyway. And you've got 2 reses pretty much out in the open. Granted, the enemy can get behind here and res, but if you're in a 3v1, you can easily stop that from happening, as damaging someone at all while they're resing will stop them from resing, or it will at least reset the res timer. So to keep that in mind is a great idea. Don't be like, oh look, they can do, you know, if you're like there's a little bit that they can res from and you're being OCD about that, that's not a good thing to do, because then it's like you're wasting your efficiency. You're gonna be worried about them sitting in one spot, but you can tell if they're being res because A, you can hear it, and B, you can see the red goes flashing up a bit. If you haven't noticed that by now, go into some elimination games and notice that, like, kind of pretend like you're holding a res and maybe give it up some. Watch it and you'll notice there's a huge difference as opposed to the, like, just basic red. It's like a bright red, kind of whitish as it's getting rezzed. But anyway, you want to make sure you're holding those reses, efficiently hold those reses, and also, quick tip while you're holding a res, like if there's a res right here, because it's a common sniper lane, you can crouch like right here, right, and hold the res. You're not inside of it, but you have radar, and also if they come around this way, like the last guy's in red building, right, you can easily tell if they're going to come around this way because of radar, or if they come out that doorway or the lower doorway, you can just snipe them out with the primary or sniper, either way. Or if they're over here, you can take them out with your ability, right? Like I said earlier, just a bit of damage will stop the res, or will reset the res timer. But anyway, just a little tip, stay out of sight of it, make them think, oh, res is safe, right? And the last person's like dashing there to go get the res before it's unsafe. And then you get the drop on them because you were hiding around a corner. It may sound scummy, I don't know if it does to you, but anyway, it's like a really strong thing to do. Not always applicable, but when it is, it's really nice because it just gets the drop on the enemy. So keep that in mind so you get that extra round 1 so you don't accidentally lose that 3v1 or the 2v1. But anyway, like I said, all of this is situational. So if the reses are way far away from point, you're going to have to separate a bit. And also keep in mind that if you're separated, you can close in. I think it's a strong thing to do. Like with survival, I don't like pinning as much. In trials, I like to pin more because one dead person is a way bigger deal. So if there are two reses up here, let's say they're both together, and I'm holding them, even if I'm out right here, and the last person is pushing me, I would say, hey, last guy is in red building, so they would help me by pushing over there. My teammates would. My teammates would go flank that person, so that person doesn't get my kill. That person doesn't kill me. Because if that person kills me, then this person gets both the reses, right? And then now my team is in 2v3 just because we didn't pin that person. That's why pinning is way more important in trials rather than survival. Because survival, they would have killed me. Okay, it's a 2v1 now, right? My team still has the advantage even if I get killed. But in trials, it doesn't work that way. You need to have a different mindset. Because also in trials, it's way more efficient to close in on the last person. It's not like in survival, where you kill two people, and then they happen to respawn by their last person. So then you go to close in, and then all three of them are there again. So, knowing the difference really helps. Both are fun game modes, aside from the hackers and trials. But anyway, both are fun game modes, but you have to have a different mindset. Alright, next I'm going to talk to you about the 1v3's. So before anything, I am going to tell you that I cannot promise that you win all of your 1v3's and 1v2's. I don't win all of mine, but I've won and lost many of mine, and I'm going to tell you how I go through mine so you have an idea of how to win a 1v2 or a 1v3. Maybe you don't have the right mindset, maybe your gun skill isn't on point, but that's okay. You don't even need to have perfect gun skill to win a 1v3, but it does help. But anyway, I always get something out of my 1v3's, or I at least try my best to. Sometimes it is winning the round, sometimes it's getting an enemy super used, wasted on me, because ideally, if I'm in a 1v3, they should not need super to kill me, but let's say I kill two of them and the last person has super, maybe they're going to use super on me, and I just made them waste a super on a 3v1, as opposed to next round whenever it's all fresh. Alrighty, for my survival 1v3's, first thing I do is I check time and lives. Ideally, I probably already know what this is because if we're getting close to the 1v3 situation, I've already kind of checked it, knowing what my game plan is around time and lives. But anyway, I check that, and if the enemy has lives, obviously I don't have lives because then my buddies would be alive, so I'm already at 0 lives, but if the enemy has any lives, I have to get a kill. So at that point, I see if they're going to solo rush me, but assuming they're smart enough not to solo rush on life advantage, I'm going to see if I can get a kill. I might play a little aggro. Like if I'm right here, I might try to see if I can get grenade damage and then try to finish up the kill. Or maybe like shoot with my Hawk Moon, you know, get some damage and then throw the grenade, see if I can finish up the kill. Because even if I die in this situation, if I didn't die and waited for time, then I just gave the enemy super and didn't really do anything, because then they just won by life advantage, right? So I always just want to make sure I'm at even on lives so it goes to overtime, because if not, they're just going to win at the end of the time. And they're only 2-minute rounds, so that's really not a lot of time by the time you hit a 1v3. You've probably got like a minute max. But anyway, once the enemy is out of lives, that's when it's time to really play smart. And like I said, there's probably a minute left, so Heavy's probably been used by then. But anyway, if it's not, keep that in mind. At that point, I play smart. Let's say all 3 enemies are in middle, and I want to play smart. I really would not be rushing this angle hard. Maybe see if I can get a sniper pick on this angle. But really, I try to play a little aggro, but very smart, kind of back, able to run away any time, because I want someone to flank me. I want them split. So if I realize, hey, someone's going through there, I see it on my radar, I'm going to run around and try to pick this person off. Because at that point, it's a 1v1 there. And if these people rush up on me, I'm going to rush up on this one person. I don't care if I have a sniper and a scout rifle. I'm going to rush up on this person really hard, because I want to make sure I'm still fighting a 1v1. I'm not fighting a 1v3 because the enemies are flanking me and pushing in. I want to make sure I'm fighting this 1v1 over here, get this person killed, and then come over here and fight this. I might need to regen real quick. Might put my barricade up, see what I can do, and then I fight the 1v2s. Again, see if I can get them to split. If I can get them to split, great. If not, maybe I like do a bit of damage, and then I throw my grenade. Just got a kill, right? Then it's a 1v1. I understand it probably didn't happen just like that, but you have to fight them in smaller fights. Fighting a 1v3, just running out into the middle of them, is not how you win them. You gotta fight them by fighting 1v1s. You get someone to flank, then you rush up on that person. When they're flanking you, they're closing in on you, they're not going to expect you to play aggro, even though that's the way to win. You want to push up on the one person, because the 1v3 is not like this 2-2. So you want to push up on the one person. Sometimes you don't know which way is the one person, so you just have to guess, and sometimes you're going to be wrong. That is perfectly okay. I've done that many times. I think I'm rushing the way one person is, and then I find 2 people. But anyway, just fighting those 1v1s, the 1v2s, rather than the 1v3 is the way to win those. And then maybe, because I just killed this person right here, right? And there are still 2 people over there, I run the point. I go hold point, and maybe they come through and try to separate again. I don't know why they would separate, but they would think about it. And then maybe I like get that grenade right there. Don't care about that person anymore. Start fighting this person. Or maybe I would have put my barricade up here just to block it off, and then started using this cover, right? So anyway, keep those in mind. Fighting your 1v3s as smaller fights. I've said that multiple times, but I promise you that's the way to win them. Now, sometimes you think you're fighting a smaller fight, or you just don't realize that all 3 of them are in one room. Like, let's say all 3 of the enemies are right here, and I thought only 1 or 2 people were here. So, what you would do then, if I push in too hard, I just start spamming everything, shoot anything I can, and honestly, I try to get up on each person. So if I run out here, there's a person there, person there, person there, I would try to push up like on this person, punch, punch, and see what I can do, because when you get up on each person, you make them have to move their crosshair more, you make them have to aim more, and they have to distinguish you from your buddy, or from their buddy, And I understand that's not a hard thing to do at all, but that's the extra quarter second that you get to possibly win. And at this point, it's do or die, so you have to get the kills or you're dead. There's no running away once you've run into all three of them and you know you have no escape plan to get back into cover without dying. So you just want to get up on each person, punch, shotgun, sniper at point blank, anything just to win the 1v3. Or maybe you get one of them to pop super because you scared them or you killed two of them and then you even got a win out of that. You may have lost the round, but you made them bait that super. So, for my trials 1v3s, I am always making sure I am thinking about reses. I'm thinking about getting my friendly reses, and I'm thinking about holding a possible res on the enemy if I get a pick. Granted, I need to keep in mind that if I get a pick and it's in a bad spot, I really can't hold that enemy res well without having to push into the enemy to get that res and make sure that they don't get it. I'm not going to hold that res, I'm going to see it as a loss and just go get another pick. But anyway, my teammates should be giving me callouts saying when the res is available and always just reminding me, hey, there's one on my body. That way, if my two teammates are in their own areas, like let's say one's dead in Mothball, right? They're dead in Moth Pit there, and one's dead over on Bone Stairs, or I'm sorry, Prison Stairs, right? One's over dead on Prison Stairs, one in Moth. So they both say, hey, I got one on me. That means if I'm fighting someone in main, I know this is only one person. Now, if they say, hey, one's going to you, I should keep in mind, hey, I'm going to be fighting two people now. My teammates should always be giving me those kind of callouts so I know what kind of fight I'm fighting at all times. Because if you don't use that to your advantage, that's a possible way that you just lost your 1v3, and you could have won if you had known because your team had given you a callout. And just like in survival, you should be seeing if you can get them to split or at least just get a pick off on one person and make them hold that res to revive. That's 5 seconds that they have to wait plus the res time. That's a decent amount of time for you to get somewhere else and reposition while they're holding the res to make it a 3v1 again. Maybe you go get a friendly res while they're getting that friendly res. And then it became a 2v3 just for you getting that pick. And a 2v3 is way easier to win than a 1v3. So, aside from that, you already know that in trials there is also an overtime point. Keep in mind when you're going for your reses that there is an overtime point, so make sure you're always keeping time in mind to make sure you get to point on time. Because if you're getting a res across the map because, oh hey, it's clear, well yeah, there's 2 seconds left on the clock, they all ran to point. So keep that in mind, that there may be a clear res, but if there's like 2 seconds left on the clock, go to point. You don't have time for a res if it's across the map. Granted, if there's a friendly res and it's in main, yeah, I'll get that res, because then we can fight that way better. But make sure you're using your time efficiently, make sure you're not wasting your time when you could be in the next round already, not letting all of the enemy team get super, while only you are getting super. And then also, this is all very situational. I gave you some pointers there. I told you how to structure it. So you need to make sure that you're playing each one differently. It doesn't all go by one hard book. It's possibly this situation. It's possibly you play it like that. You might play it differently just depending on your loadout. If I'm a sniper, I'm obviously not going to go rush hard on my friendly's res. I'm probably going to sit back a bit and make him start to peek me and make them try to flank me, and then I go get that res. But it all depends on your loadout, depends on what your plan is, depends on how the enemy is holding reses. It depends on where your friendly's reses are. If they're both together and near point, then you've got a better chance at winning as opposed to both together away from point, because then you have to go get that res and run all the way across the map to point. But anyway, make sure you're always focused on reses and getting the enemy split. Those are the two main things to focus on, and also time, just keep that in mind, but that's not a huge deal as long as you're not across the map when point spawns. And make sure that when you're dead, you're giving your buddies callouts. make sure that when you're the only one alive, your buddies are giving you callouts because it's trials. You guys are in a 3-stack and you are all talking to each other. Alrighty, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will have more videos coming out next couple of months. I got a lot more time now, and I hope you will enjoy them. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and post them down below. I will help out as much as I can. Thank you for all the support, and I will see you all next time.